Welcome to another episode of Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is IK Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped you get off. And so as a gentleman that's joining me today, yet again for season 2, international porn star, content creator, model, Drew Dixon. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Oh my gosh, it was like a year ago we last did this.
Yeah, Las Vegas.
Oh my gosh, and last year I only had the credited claims of being a slut, and now I'm an international porn star.
Yeah. We were just talking about it a little while ago. Tell us, you've been traveling with Romeo Davis. You guys have been...
My bestie, yes.
Yeah, you guys have been all over the place. What's been going on?
I tentatively say I've been traveling all over the place because I'm consciously aware that a lot of people haven't. But I mean, the reality is I don't have any ties. I don't own a home. Right? I mean, a lot of people are like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "I'm not from anywhere. I'm still living out my suitcase." So from January 2019, it's just been me and my suitcase. I have a storage unit back in the UK, but that's it. I don't live in it. In the March of last year, I went to Canada. I went for 10 days, from the 10th to the 20th, and then I was meant to go to Spain. But Spain had closed, so I couldn't go there. And then I was due to come to Los Angeles, and I couldn't get into the US as well. US was shut, so I stayed in Canada. We have one of my close friends, Ethan Chase, who's also a performer up there. And of course, I already knew Romeo. We'd worked together quite a few times. We've hung out a lot, and we really get on. But of course, for that 10 days in Canada, it ended up being 6 months.
So you quarantined in
quarantined
Canada.
in Canada, yeah.
What was that experience like?
It was wonderful. People are like, "Oh, you stuck here?" I'm like, "I don't feel stuck. I feel. I mean, granted, we were still kind of like in our own little spaces and stuff, but it was it was a very healthy place for me to be, actually, because after having traveled 15, 16 months of literally being on the go and being in a place no more than a couple of weeks, some places I was there for 2 days or a night or a week or whatever. So to be there somewhere for 6 months, actually kind of brought me back to what it's like to have a proper routine and doing just like cooking and cleaning. Well, I can't cook. I can clean. I'm okay with some, scrubbing and stuff. Because I'm a scrubber. And it was good. I managed to do some homework. Like I was working out back at Ethan's place. He had like a little kind of gym in his spare room and like kind of going back to basics with like core training and like toning and stuff. So it was just a very healthy experience for me, actually. I really got to focus. Really got to focus and put some things on track. So
they didn't have... You're a UK citizen.
Yes.
They didn't... Well, actually, UK and Canada, like, that's kind of...
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the Commonwealth. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So, I mean, I was... I'm allowed to visit Canada for 6 months at a time anyway, so that's why I did 6 months, All right. Don't want to outstay my welcome. I mean, they were kicking me out by the end of it anyway, right? I'm like, oh, God.
He's not going anywhere.
He's like a rash. We can't get rid of him. So they finally got rid of me, and I went back to UK for a little bit.
Did you miss home by the time you went back?
No. No, it's surreal going back to the UK because it's like I don't know how to explain it. When you grow up somewhere, everything's so familiar. So when you kind of like dive into a different kind of culture and a way of doing things, going back seems a little alien. But I'm like, no, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't feel like this. But I caught up with my family, and I saw my family, and I saw my nieces, and just kind of reset a little bit. But and then I was back on the road in October. So nonetheless, most of that summer I was with Romeo Davis, and then of course in the October he came out to Europe, and then we did 3 months around Europe. And Europe was kind of open at the time. It was opening back up. So when we travel obviously with the utmost care and like within limitations of the law and stuff. And the amount of COVID tests I've had more things up my fucking nose than in my arse. Do you know what I mean? So, like,
up your ass.
Honestly.
Well, you mean more COVID tests than things up your ass?
Yes, yes. Just things being shoved up.
I was like, what clinic did you go to?
I've been to a very specialist clinic. It's called Flex.
Yeah. So you had a lot of fun during the pandemic as well.
I did.
As much as we can,
Absolutely. Everything was within limitations, but Canada was doing quite well, I suppose, in comparison to other countries with their pandemic. with their pandemic.
Well, yeah, with their handling of it.
Yeah, the handling. I mean, I can't speak for them now because I'm not there. And of course, you hear stories and reports and stuff. But then all countries are in the same boat. We just have to get on with it, don't we? Do what we have to do. So, the beginning of the year, we were in Mexico. We traveled to Mexico, and then we came up into the US for the spring. So, were you doing a lot of fan content, or did you do some studio work on top of that, like in? There was, intermittently where studios were filming, I was taking studio gigs, of course, where they were. And it's a completely different kettle of fish now because there's so much more testing requirements to go into it, and a lot more preparation. And you've got to be very careful who you're interacting with beforehand, because if you get a negative COVID test, before it was obviously STIs you need to be careful about, but now COVID is so much easier to transmit because, of course, it's so virally spread, like my hole. So, I don't know why I said that. So, I've lost my train of thought now.
In regard to shooting with studios.
So then, and I've been doing as much fan content as possible. For the lot of the summer last year, me and Romeo were just filming loads and loads and loads. So now studios are like, have you ever worked with Romeo Davis? I'm like, have you looked at our Twitter? Honestly, we're all over that.
Yeah, so. I did think you guys had a lot of sex. So everywhere I went, I was like, oh God, these guys.
We were like, because we were in our little bubble. So I mean, what else was there to do? So we were like going. In Canada, we actually flew when we could. We flew from Montreal to Calgary, which is a 4-hour flight, and then we were up at like 2 a.m. I was douching at 2 a.m, getting in a car at 4, then driving 2.5 hours to go up a mountain. Jesus. And he's boning me up a mountain, but it looks beautiful.
Yeah, okay. So you got beautiful content.
I'm artistic like that. The staff at Tim Hortons at 4 o'clock in the morning is something to be desired about, but nonetheless, you've got to pick your battles, haven't you? So we love you, Tim Hortons.
So you're here in New York City together. Yes. You have not been cast in a scene together.
Not in New York. No, since we've been traveling together, we have been cast in only one studio scene. Oh, and a gangbang. Okay, there was quite a few tops. So he was. That was one scene, and then there was another one where we were put together. And we do actually say to the studio, said, "Look, you are going to get a great scene." Because we just know each other so well, and we know what works, and we know our limits and stuff. It's going to be a fantastic and easy scene. However, it may not be anything new to the audience. Some of the audience absolutely love the pairings, but then some of them were like, okay, well, we've seen you together already. So I'd be interested to see what you say to him and see if he has any kind of... I'm sure. He'd be like, I hate working with Drew. Not like that, because of course he's got a Canadian accent. You should get him to do a British accent.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
I will. I'll have him do it tonight.
Please get him to do a British accent.
Yeah. What was, because you've had the luxury of seeing a lot of different places during this crazy time. What was the craziest thing you saw out there? If there are any moments that kind of stand out.
Like the most, the most surreal, in terms of the pandemic, the most surreal feeling was when I did go back into London for a brief period of time, and having knowing London quite well, and then going to Piccadilly Circus, which is one of the busiest hubs in that city, and just feeling how empty it was. That was surreal. We've obviously had to deal with in Barcelona, they had 10 p.m. curfews. So again, after 10 p.m. and just looking from the balcony down at La Ramblas type thing, which is normally heaving, just absolutely quiet. And also in Spain, they were very heavily policed. Madrid and in Barcelona, just seeing the amount of cop cars going around at 8, 9 o'clock, getting people ready to get home. They're not causing, there's no drama or anything. They just want to make sure that they are we are enforcing this rule and this is what we're doing. And eating has been a challenge.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm in an apartment that has a kitchen and I can't cook. I made Romeo a bacon sandwich once in Berlin, and I almost set the place on fire. The smoke detector was going off, and the bacon was burnt, and I still made him eat it. I mean, he's eaten worse. He's eaten my ass. Do you know what I mean? So he had that sandwich, and then I'm just about good with cereal. So on the flip side, then when you're in hotels, it's like, well, you're relying on Uber Eats. Mm-hmm. Sometimes Uber Eats just doesn't turn up.
Is this in different countries? Or
Miami's the worst. Sorry, I'm calling you out, Miami. Miami Uber sucks. It just does.
Well, if that's the least problem you had with Miami or Florida, you're pretty lucky. Okay.
Yes. I didn't come away with my food or COVID, so I guess that's a win. So yeah, it was. So that's I mean the real first world problem, shall I say? I sound so trivial moaning about Uber Eats and not being able to cook. I should obviously learn how to cook.
You're busy. You have a lot of things going on. It's
what am I going to make?
Yeah. And also you haven't had your own personal kitchen. If you have, when you do, you said when you did stay in places for a good period of time, you kind of get into the
right. Yeah, I in Canada. So my 6 months in Canada, I managed scrambled egg.
Okay, that's a start.
Good.
Scrambled eggs are not. They're not as easy as everybody thinks they are.
Right.
They're soft serve.
They're a bit wet.
Wet is fine. That's hotels do them a certain way, then people do them at home. So, and that's something that I learned actually in Ecuador. I went to Ecuador 2 years ago.
Okay.
And that's when it finally stuck. I was like, why are their eggs so much better? It's because they do a soft serve because they leave it cooking. So if you get there earlier, it kind of isn't as hard and clumpy as it gets when you get there later.
Okay.
I know. Scrambled eggs, guys.
But it's Martha Stewart when you need her.
What we were talking about content, right? Fan content.
Yes,
so you've gone out and you've shot a good amount of content just in case there's another pandemic.
Yes. Not to cross the line of me sounding too whorish. Yeah. But yes. I have filmed as much as I can. Well, at the end of the day, I go where the wind takes me. So I have the freedom to kind of get up and go where I can and when I, and do what I need to do and, and not have any limitations. So, but there may be a time that I like, well, you can't come to this country. You can't do that. And I might have to just go back to the UK. And there isn't really any industry in the UK apart from, and I can film fan content there. But of course, it's the UK has been this year very heavily closed. And of course, they're just getting things back up and running. So if I have to go and sleep on my brother's sofa for a month, I know that I've got stuff to edit. I've got stuff to post. I mean, I'm committed to my fan pages for 3 posts a week. So they're getting...
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Right.
3 posts a week. That's awesome.
I give them 3 full scenes a week. And it's only $9.
How long are these scenes? That's a lot of content. That's more than Tim, I think, does 2.
Yeah.
That's very generous. For $9, that's very generous.
Very generous, right? Yeah.
$9 a month.
I know. Yep. I'm a cheap whore. Right. So, but I love it. The thing is, I get to work with so many people. The thing is, if you're in Madrid, I was in Madrid for 10 days. I'm like, I may not be back in Madrid.
Yeah.
So, and I'm douched.
Yeah, I know. You from the last podcast, I remember you saying you're going to be ready to go because I brought the douche just in case, and then I was like, no, he's not going to. He'll be fine.
I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm like, come on, I'm a bottom, right? So if I'm douched for one guy, then I'm douched for the next 4 guys that come in after.
Yeah. Oh. Has anything changed in your routine from the last time we spoke in regard to how you prepare?
No, because we did have a long conversation about that.
Yeah.
I still take my time with it. I am
just so you're good for the entire day.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I have put more fiber into my diet, but apart from that, no, it's all exactly the same.
Good.
It's quite a process.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're ready to go for the entire day, that's an art.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it's I don't think I've had any casual sex. I don't have any sex off camera. I really don't. I don't have any casual sex. So it's like, I don't need to impromptu do a quick 15-minute dish. Every time I'm doing it, I know I'm doing it for a series of work and stuff. Okay. But at the same time, I just love what I do. It's like, I mean, having sex on camera is just gets me off
That's your fetish.
That's my fetish.
That's your kink. Yeah. Any other kinks you've developed over the past year that you were like, oh, I never saw myself in this, but here I am.
Yes. So I've got into this kind of headspace now where I like being, I really do enjoy being bound, like handcuffs, blindfolds and stuff like that. And it was always kind of there, but I actually managed to do some of this stuff over the last couple of, over the last year, really. And I'm in tune more with my fisting as well.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Because again, it's tricky for me because I love it. And I'm not in a one place long enough to have a regular fisting partner who can really spend time and train and work it up, and I can just sit back and relax. And I've done a lot of studio scenes where it's like when we're fisting, that it's performance and you have to perform. And I feel like that's fine with sex, but with fisting, it's a different kettle of fish, and it's a lot more intimate for me. It is anyway, and it feels so powerfully good. And none of that should be forced or anything. And I've been able to meet with some really talented fisting tops who work with, and we've just kind of taken our time, and we've let the cameras roll or whatever, but we've just taken our time, and I'm not for, and just kind of, and a lot of the time I'll be blindfolded, because sometimes I think like just taking away that visual, and then I can just really tap into my headspace and really just relax and I feel different things that I've never felt before when you've got cameras rolling and it's like and go type thing, and you have to really amplify it.
We're going to do a little fisting.
We are.
Yeah.
I know.
With Alex Dikas, who's very excited.
Yes.
When I mentioned it, he's like, you want me to fucking fist Drew Dixon?
Oh, God.
Yes, please. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, he's a nice guy. I have yet to have a chance to work with him. Treasure Island has, and I know people that have. I interviewed him for the podcast, but Treasure Island doesn't really do a lot of hardcore stuff.
Right.
Whereas when I was with Dark Alley, that's how they started. They started out with fisting and Matthias von Fistenberg and shit. So
yes,
I have 2 scenes that are hardcore, and I have one more that's coming. And I wouldn't shoot fisting unless I knew the person was comfortable doing it. And I think we shot something. First thing we shot, you, Seth Knight, and I can't remember his name. FX Rios.
Yes.
And one of them started fisting you.
He did, yeah. And that was just with regular old silicone lube. And I wasn't nowhere near as practiced as I am now. So that did happen as kind of like an add-in. But,
so I was like, oh, I'll get it. Why not? Let's shoot it.
Well, absolutely. That's going to happen, isn't it? So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so I know that I'm comfortable with you because I know that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And Alex has experience doing it too.
Yeah, that's
that'll be
really
cool.
important for
what
me.
I do now, the reminder is now I have to go out and get some J-Lube, or what would you prefer?
I've got J-Lube.
You do?
Yeah, I travel with it.
You do? Okay.
I do. I've got some, I'll mix some up.
Okay. I appreciate that because I only have silicone and water-based lube, and I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Fine, don't worry.
One thing I have seen a lot of is you've been topping more.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, was there just like a switch, or were you just like...
I'm going to say this now. I don't know if I'm going to regret it. You know how you have gay for pay? I top for tips.
Really? Okay.
I am definitely, I identify as a bottom. My pronouns are bottom. No, I identify as a bottom. I love to bottom, and I think I'm a pretty good one.
Yeah.
That being said, on my travels, when there are some guys that I want to work with, and they're also a bottom, so someone's got to give, right?
Yeah.
Something, and I want to work with this person, and I want to be able to put that, and bring that to my fan pages and bring that to my fans. So, and because also like a studio probably won't ever pair us because they know that we're both bottoms. So it's like, therefore, I'm happy to say, hey, look, I want to top you.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it. I really do.
That's actually a really good marketing thing for yourself, for fan sites, because you are right. When I think Drew Dixon, I don't think, well, I have seen you top. I have seen you top, I think for Champ Studio. You did it, like it was that orgy in Las Vegas. It was really quick, but you did get in there. So I know that you're capable of it, but if I ever said to Max Soul, hey, Drew Dixon wants to top this guy for the whole scene, he'd be like, really? So yes, but that's not a bad angle to have outside of studio work too. Top for tips.
No, I but as long as people know, I do actually enjoy it. And I typically like topping, like maybe like smaller, not twinks as such, but just guys that are a little smaller than me type thing. And I feel like a little bit of an alpha comes out, and I feel like the dynamics are good. And I know it's good because a lot of the time, like I'm fucking a guy, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna come like 2 minutes into it, because that's why I kind of came away from topping in the first place, because in my personal sex life years ago, back when God was a boy, I would like be topping, and I would like come in like 2 minutes. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so like embarrassed. I'm like, well, I'm going to bottom more. That way I don't have to worry about the stress of coming too quickly. But now I've kind of got it under control.
Well, that's cool.
I've seen a therapist. He's been very generous.
When it comes to your fan content, what is the worst part, or what is the most difficult part of creating fan content? And that's pre-production or post. Like what really just
Oh gosh.
Because you're a producer now.
I am.
You're your own studio now.
I don't think people realize how hard it is to actually get models to commit. You would think they would be committed. Yeah. But you do get the occasional flakes. And I say that in this, people flake on Grindr, right?
Yeah.
You know, so, and then they certainly flake when it comes to fan content. Don't get me wrong. I've had a couple of situations myself where I've had to cancel because there's been complications or whatever, and they're out of your control. But I get people that just go AWOL, and I'm very forward-coming with my communication. I'm like, hey, you know, and I have a schedule. I have an Excel spreadsheet. I had one last year. I'm not sure if I talked about it. I love talking about my Excel spreadsheet. It's wonderful. But on that Excel spreadsheet, there is a calendar, and there is dates and times, and there are things booked in, because, you know, as I said, I need to capitalize my time.
Yeah, it does make sense now.
You know, get that Filofax out. And so I'll be like the day before, like, hey, we still on for tomorrow? Yes. The morning of, we're still good for 2 o'clock? Yes. 12 o'clock. Are you on your way? 1 o'clock. Are you on your way? 2 o'clock. Are you on your way? No response. And then like 2 days later, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. What?
Yeah.
What?
No. Yeah.
Hey, that does actually happen. And
God, so even, and I say this with nothing but admiration, even Drew Dixon gets fucking shafted.
Yeah.
What?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that happens, but then also you get some people that get nervous. They turn up and they get nervous, and I'm like, oh, okay.
What about
I try and make people as relaxed as possible.
Yeah, it's important.
I feel like I'm very kind of like approachable, and I try and make people feel as comfortable as possible. But unfortunately, some people get into their heads a little bit, and then they can't perform. But we can make that work. It's all in the edit.
It's so it is. It's very interesting to see or to talk to models now and have them kind of understand the idea of. But the thing is, you guys got it harder. Like there are studios that don't put the casting together. Like it's not just one person putting casting together, doing the production, doing the editing, posting it. Like you guys are a one-stop shop at this point. And that's what separates the ones that are going to succeed and the ones that are not. How do you find post, like editing?
I really enjoy it. I find it relatively easy because I actually have someone film all my stuff.
Okay.
And when he's not available, I get someone else to film all my stuff. I don't carry tripods around with me or ring lights because I don't have the capacity in my suitcase to carry them, and it's filled with dildos. So like you've got to pick one, haven't you?
You have to pick.
Only one's going to get stopped at TSA, and it's not going to be the ring light. Yeah, I've been fortunate that I travel with someone that I actually pay.
Cool.
I pay someone to film my stuff. I take the money that I earn and I reinvest it back into my business, because that's what it is. It is a business. It's a great business, but it's a business. So it does make it, because it's all shot on one camera, and it's not. And then I sit down on my iPad and I splice it all up, and I'll get that done. Then I'll get a trailer done together as well. I've enjoyed putting my trailer specifically with some music. I subscribe to a platform that I can actually download music that is not licensed free, royalty free. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't want having Madonna after me or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've got hung up while I'm getting shafted.
Just in the background.
She's looking good right now, isn't she?
Yeah.
Good old
God.
Madge. I know.
Yeah. I was just thinking about, funny you say that, because I was listening to Hard Candy on the way here.
Yes.
And I love that album. And I know Madonna segue real quick, but I didn't really like the last one. I went to see the tour. Hardcore Madonna fan. Like, I followed the woman.
Last one was Madam X, wasn't it?
Madam X.
I didn't invest in that one.
I went to one of the concerts. When you're in a theater and it says the show starts at 8 and you come on at 11:30, you're going to piss people off.
Right.
So I stayed for a little bit, and then afterwards I was just like, okay, this is not what I expected, not for me.
Okay.
But Hardcore Madonna fan. Why did we get on her?
Yeah,
So
anyway,
royalty-free music.
I enjoy putting a trailer together with some music and making and just giving, whether or not people like it or not, or whether or not it gets loads of traction online, but actually it's just a little personal stamp that I invest. So every scene I tend to spend about 3 to 4 hours post edit, because I've got to piece it all together and I watch every single second of it. I want to make sure I'm trimming out the things I don't want in. I want to gel it all together so it's nice. Then I've got to save it, and then I've got to upload it onto 6 platforms. And then I'm making a trailer. Finding the music that I want for that particular trailer is also a challenge, because I'm going through a whole catalogue of music online to try and find a specific song that really works with the theme of that piece of content. Then I go through all of it, because it's all filmed in 4K. So I'm then taking screenshots. So I've got stuff for Twitter. And then I upload all of it onto my Dropbox. I've got to give the other guy the content, the raw content as well. And by the time I then procrastinate and and have lunch, it's like about a 3 to 4 hour piece of work. So,
but it flies though, right? Are you at that point where it's like, oh, where does the time go? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you relatively, you genuinely enjoy.
I do.
The editing
it's creative.
process.
Yeah.
And
it's also, because I was a retail manager for so long, in my 20s, I am very business analytical. I like looking at data, and I like seeing where I can make growth, and I like to know where my fans are coming from, what time they're subscribing, what videos are doing well, what's getting traction, what's also affiliates. Like on some platforms, you get a lot of affiliates. So I'm looking to see how many of those affiliates are driving business towards me. I look at all this data, so I love all that as well, because that's like the business plan and like how I can grow, and I track, and it's all on my spreadsheet.
When I said one-stop shop, this is like a total package too, because you're in front of the camera and you're really good in front of the camera, but you're also doing the business end of it, and also the production end of it. It's
full-time work.
Okay,
so my people ask me, is there any advice for it? And I'm like, especially for those models that have come onto the fan platforms in the last 12 months, because so many people have, because they are now out of work and they've defaulted onto it. I'm like, if you're not putting it in full time, then you get out what you put in. That's all I can say. So if you put in 40 hours a week, then you're going to reap the benefits, as opposed to putting in 10 minutes.
Yeah. And that's where I think also people drop out.
Right.
You know, you're gonna have the ones from the very start. You knew which ones were gonna go, and which ones were going to like continue succeeding.
I mean, everyone has their own way of doing it. Some people like to just take a photo and then charge $40 for it. I'm like, okay, you do that. That's fine. If you're making
if it works for you.
No, what's important for me is that I look at my retention rate, which is, I think I made up that word. I'm not sure.
No, retention is a word.
It is a word. Fabulous. Yeah. So I look at how many fans I've got, and then I look at how many people are renewing, because it's one thing getting people on and convincing them that they should spare $9 for you. But then the next thing is making them stay. Why should they stay for the next month and the month after that and for the month? So I look at that as a percentage to see what my percentage is versus, how many people are staying. So I don't know what the retention rate it looks like for someone who charges $3 for a subscription, then $20 for every single video. I don't know. I don't know how many of those fans are staying. They may be doing really, really well. I don't know. I've never looked at the data, so I'm not judging. Obviously, it works for them. That's why they're still doing it. But I like to. That's why I'm giving people free videos a week for only $9, because I want them to come back and watch next month's videos and the months after that.
Yeah.
I want to keep them for the long run, because this is, for me, a long run. I'm a sex worker. This is what I've chosen to do, and I've chosen to do it since 2017. This is my job, my love, my passion, my career. I wouldn't want to do anything else. So I haven't just jumped onto this off the back of, I can't go and work at the restaurant tonight because it's shut. I can't go and work at the law firm because people aren't committing crimes. I'm sure people are committing loads of crimes during COVID. That was a terrible example.
No, I get what you
know
mean,
what I mean? But so when those jobs come back, are they going to then just drop the fan pages and then default back into their previous jobs? I don't know. I mean, each to their own. But as I said, this is the reason why I invest so much and my love and time into this, is because this is my job.
Yeah.
And this is what I want to do. I don't want to do anything else.
Well, it absolutely shows. If you were doing anything else at this point, hypothetical, what do you think you would be doing?
I'll be a barrister at Starbucks.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Everyone's happy there.
Yeah, you're right.
I've never met an unhappy Starbucks worker. I mean, if you are one out there, please DM me, because I'm going to slap you senseless. No, I think everyone's happy in Starbucks. I love Starbucks. It's great.
I'd probably, who else I think, maybe it's just because it's a newer job or it's going to start flourishing now, but every time I've gone to a marijuana dispensary, those people look really happy.
Right?
I don't know if they're like dipping their hand in the till or in the sense of like the merchandise, but they're always like, hey, come in, this is this, and this will get you this high, and blah, blah, blah. So they look happy too.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, I know nothing about marijuana.
No,
I know.
Are you a recreational user of anything?
No.
Okay, so you are good to go.
I don't drink.
You don't drink either. Wow. No vices. Well, coffee, but that's it.
Oh, coffee's my vice.
Yeah, but that's fine. It's a very
I'm in 10 grand's worth of debt because of Starbucks.
It's a very acceptable
habit.
Drug. Yeah, well, it's definitely, caffeine is.
It is.
But
it has its limits.
Well, that's cool. That's good. That explains a lot. Well, not just your drive or ambition, but you get a lot of shit done. I had a bottle of wine yesterday. Oh. You know how hard it was to get up this morning? So I know what you're saying. And I haven't done that in a long time because we haven't been drinking all that much. But yeah, yesterday, one thing led to another. You're just having drinks with your friends and stuff. And it was the equivalent. Yeah. But, I can't even think of, like, in my 20s, how much I drank. And then, you have to get up and produce. It's very, I could never do that.
I've just got shit. I'm a morning person. I've got shit to do in the morning.
So you're a morning person.
Like, I've got my spreadsheet to do.
Yeah.
7:30 every morning, uploading all my figures. So I don't have time to be getting hungover and stuff. I haven't drank since the very late 2018.
Okay.
That was when I last, I think I had a Baileys at Christmas.
So it's a light drink.
Doesn't really count.
Yeah, not a mixed drink. It was like a cordial, let's say.
Exactly. Yes. Baileys on the ice. I do like a Baileys on ice, but I have not had one since 2018. There is an old man's drink.
So, last question before we put some dick in you.
No, for the 40th time. Oh, dick. Oh, yes, please. Yes.
Last time we spoke, we were talking about you getting more into direction.
Yes.
Is what you're doing, it's keeping you busy, but
yes.
Are you one step closer to being behind the camera or doing stuff behind the camera as well?
Yes. Okay. I am. I'm just, it's really funny because, let me get my words out. I've done a lot of script writing. I think I was starting to do that anyway when we were last here, but I've done some script writing, and I've spent during the quarantine sitting down with some music on and getting very influenced by and getting very creative and trying to think of concepts. So I've got something that I really want to kind of be able to take and run with, but now now that I've kind of saved up money, because I'm saving as much as I can now start spending it on resources and kind of create something. I haven't really done any filming so much, not yet, but, having watched so much of my own stuff back, I know which angles I like. I know what looks really aesthetically good. So when I'm filming, I'm a lot more vocal whilst I'm, getting railed or filming, and I'll be like to the cameraman, I'm like, can we get this shot? Can we get that shot? Can we get this shot? And not try and break it up too much so there's not too much stop-start, but just kind of say it in the middle, and then I'll just kind of pull that bit out of the final edit. So yeah, I've got a real clear idea of what my content, I like my content to look like, but yeah, I've got something that I really want to be able to, something very creative that is kind of beyond just fucking on a bed type thing that I want to be able to create, but it's just, getting the right people involved to do it.
So you are, in my opinion, you are there. Like everything that you've mentioned, everything that you've talked about, you are on par with studio or like studio based. I've met a couple of models that are on similar paths, but you got your shit together. Like, that's awesome. I think that's amazing.
Well, no, that's a compliment. I appreciate that.
Yeah, because everything that you're saying is right. In my opinion, from the perspective of what works and what doesn't work. Yeah, you seem to have gotten it all together. So I commend that.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Well, I mean, it's trial and error. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still developing. I'm still getting. I'll be my worst critic, as we all are. So we're all human. So yeah, it's hopefully we'll see what happens when we're doing this podcast next year.
Yeah.
You've been watching Demystifying Gay Porn. I'm your host, Ike Grande. Demystifying Gay Porn is available on every podcast directory, as well as YouTube. Demystifying Gay Porn is on X, Instagram, Facebook, Telegram.
And if you like what you're watching or listening to and want to be a part of the creative process, head over to patreon.com/demystifyinggayporn, where you can help support this audiovisual podcast and YouTube channel, and I can continue making content like you've just enjoyed. Once again, this is Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped to get off. Cheers.